Hello guys, welcome back to TFD with another video. And oh boy, it looks like Kathy Engelbert might be headed clean out the door in a hot second, guys. For this one here, we got to go all the way up to New York because that's where the story is shaking the league right now. Let's get it, let's go. So more and more news is coming out about WNBA Commissioner Kathy Engelbert. If you're just tuning in, Napheesa Collier recently dropped what I would call an exposure of a lifetime.
With a major
she went straight at the commissioner in an interview that has the entire basketball world buzzing. Now, so far, no reports of her getting fined, but trust me, everything Napheesa had to say looked very damning for Engelbert. Why? Because Collier basically accused her of being careless with her words, making cruel comments about Caitlin Clark and even other players, while hyping herself up over the new media rights deal. She painted the picture that Engelbert was the only reason the league landed it, calling herself the best commissioner ever. But here's the problem, and it's a huge one. Kathy still hasn't taken any responsibility for the referee disaster that we've all been talking about. From blown calls to inconsistent officiating, it's been one of the biggest stains on the WNBA all season. I've been on top of this story since day one, way before it went viral. I've made countless videos calling Engelbert out, even comparing her to a straight-up mob boss. Because, let's be real, she's been running this league with pure arrogance. And now, sources are saying her time could be up. The Sports Business Journal just dropped a piece that sent shockwaves through the entire WNBA. Let's pull it up right now.
So, reports coming out are saying Engelbert likely to step down as WNBA commissioner once the CBA talks wrap up. One source even said she hasn't built the right relationships, she's just not a connector. Now, the league already fired back through a spokesperson, calling all this talk categorically false. Man, I don't even know. This article's wild. You already know we got to dig into it piece by piece because if this is true, it could shake up everything in the league. So the sources said Engelbert's presumed departure 6 years after arriving from Deloitte is relationship-driven, tied to the way she has dealt with colleagues and players amid unprecedented growth within the league. Tuesday's comments from an influential player such as Collier presumably won't help Engelbert's already unstable public standing and most likely exacerbated it. Quote, "She hasn't connected, she's not a relationship builder, which you have to be in that job with the teams, with the players," a source familiar with league office dynamics said last month, unquote. "I think she's a wicked smart business person and the success she gets a lot of credit for. But a commissioner has to have a personality element that can touch every constituent that they have. I think she's just lacking in it." So it really sounds like she's operating more like a straight-up business executive than an actual commissioner, right? Almost like a CEO running some Fortune 500 company. And you know how it usually goes with CEOs. They don't know the janitors' names, they don't know the assistants. They just deal with a handful of people in their inner circle every single day. But when you're the commissioner of the whole WNBA, that's different. You got to be tapped in with everybody. You got to know the players, connect with them, build that trust, make those relationships. And based on this article, it's making it look like she hasn't built any of that with the players at all. It goes on to say she's more focused on the boardroom than the locker room, more tied up in spreadsheets than actual relationships, and that's a huge disconnect for a role like this. You're where you are now. You have got to get through this labor negotiation. After that, it wouldn't surprise me if she did a victory lap and rode off back into the corporate world somewhere. A WNBA spokesperson said Tuesday night the source's comments were categorically false. Engelbert was unavailable for comment. She's definitely not gonna say anything about this publicly, y'all. But here's what's wild. Somebody actually dropped a comment responding to Napheesa Collier comments about her, and it's got everybody talking. Now, I'm gonna be real with y'all. This is just my own personal theory. I'm not putting this out there as fact, but honestly, I'm starting to think Kathy might actually be on the way out. It's looking like her time could be running short. And here's why. We all have to remember how deep the UConn blue blood mafia runs inside the WNBA.
That's not just a nickname. That's a network of influence and power. If you lose that support, you're basically standing alone. And when you're standing alone at the top, your days as commissioner are pretty much numbered. And Napheesa Collier, she is not just a player. She's a major part of that UConn blue blood mafia. Heavy ties, heavy backing, heavy influence. That's all I'm going to say on that for now. But this whole situation is starting to unravel, and it's way bigger than just a couple of comments. Let's keep reading and see where this goes.
It says, whether Collier's statements cement Engelbert's departure is unclear, and sources said her exit is not imminent and that it is possible she could decide to leave on her own. Sources also said any move by Engelbert would be unrelated to the league's present CBA standoff with the Players Union, although insiders believe there has been chronic distrust between Engelbert and her constituency since a September 2024 interview on CNBC in which she failed to denounce hate speech directed at players on social media. She instead pointed to the popularity of rivalries, later apologizing to the players in a group letter. She's not a people person, said another source familiar with Engelbert. That's not who she is. It has been an issue before CBA negotiations. Kathy Engelbert said, that really caught my attention. She mentioned that the league needs more rivalries. She straight up said we need drama. And honestly, she said this during all the hype around Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark, especially when Kayla was getting pushed around. Now, here's where it gets a little controversial. A lot of people are starting to insinuate that part of the reason Caitlin Clark has been getting the treatment she's been receiving might actually tie back to Kathy. Allegedly, Kathy might have almost kinda been invoking situations like the assault on Caitlin. And I don't just mean Caitlin, this is bigger. Any Indiana Fever player could be in that mix. Take Sophie, for example. She's been reportedly assaulted multiple times by several players in the league. That's something we have to pay attention to. And honestly, the violence in the league as a whole is starting to feel concerning. It's almost like basketball meets UFC at this point. You remember that show, I think it was on Spike TV? Don't quote me, but it was the one where you jump on the trampoline while doing basketball stuff like dunks and pushes. That's kind of what the league is starting to look like, guys. Things are going down that lane, and it's wild. Now, beyond all the drama, there is some serious business going on. During Kathy's tenure, the WNBA locked in an 11-year media rights deal worth $2.2 billion. Yeah, that's the deal everyone always talks about. And just recently, they secured a USA Network deal for next season. That's for a regular season game and some playoff games. So while the league's definitely growing in the business sense, the culture and safety side, that's where the questions are starting to pop up.
Let's look at this. Stephen A. Smith says WNBA Commissioner Kathy Engelbert should resign following her response to Napheesa Collier's criticism. Kathy Engelbert, Commissioner of the WNBA, you should resign. You need to resign, period. That weak-ass statement Commissioner Engelbert gave is not good enough.
Kathy Engelbert, the Commissioner of the league. Doggy, Peter, Monica, let me say for the record, you should resign. You need to resign, period. The reason I say that, Doggy, is because when a player, any player, but especially one of that magnitude, attacks you publicly like that, that weak-ass statement Commissioner Engelbert gave is not good enough. And I'm going to say it. It was a weak-ass statement. Could you imagine somebody directing comments and criticisms at you, taking conversations they've had with you directly and telling the world what you said? And did you see that statement Commissioner Engelbert gave? She basically provided no defense of herself. I don't have the statement directly in front of me, y'all.
It's mischaracterization.
A mischaracterization.
She was disheartened.
I'm disheartened at the mischaracterization. What? That was I'm not saying Napheesa Collier personally attacked her, like personally. I'm not trying to personalize it like that, but I'm just saying her words were piercing. That was an attack against your leadership. It was an attack against your integrity. It was an attack against your character. Against your character. And that's the statement you came out with.
Now, they haven't disclosed exactly how much that deal was worth, but it dropped yesterday. The thing is, all the drama surrounding Kathy and now Collier kind of stole the spotlight, totally overshadowed this deal. But don't worry, I'm going to pull it up for you guys right now. So here's the latest on the deal that came out yesterday regarding the USA Network and what it means for the league moving forward. Breaking. The WNBA has announced an 11-year media rights deal with Versant in which USA Network will broadcast WNBA regular season games along with portions of the playoffs and WNBA finals beginning in the 2026 season. All right, guys, let's be real. If you're putting together that poster, Caitlyn has got to be on there. This stuff is coming fast and it's all because of Caitlyn. The hype around her is off the charts. And honestly, this is exactly why Kathy is looking at the exit door. We've got to follow the money here. Look, she's probably going to get fired because she messed up the bag. She fumbled a $2.2 billion opportunity. Ratings went down. And why? Because under her watch, women in the league got assaulted, injuries piled up, and she did nothing. Absolutely nothing. She didn't speak out, she didn't act, and now that's coming back to bite her. Kathy, you're about to get fired. Plain and simple. The league is looking at some of the lowest ratings in WNBA history. And don't even get me started on last night's game. Fever versus Aces, it was brutal. So yeah, guys, I want to hear from you. Drop down in the comments and let me know what you think about all of this. This is getting real.